You can't keep me cooped up in here, okay? I am a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
Did he just call himself a peacock?
The hosts of this show were at one point both at a birthday party. It was at this birthday party that they found themselves discussing 3 seasons of Riverdale. What follows is what was recorded at that party. Okay, so I'll just bring you up to speed.
So you're not actually recording?
No, just video, just
right.
audio. So first season of Riverdale, I'm gonna try and go back and remember.
Guy sleeps with his teacher.
Yeah.
Murder.
So Archie hooks up with his hot teacher who's lying because she's hiding from her abusive ex-husband. So she assumed the identity of an old woman who died, which is why in the comic she's an old lady, but in the TV show she's sexy.
That's already troublesome.
Yeah, really bad. And then they're like, "Hey, you can't do that. He's a high schooler. Get out of our town." She's like, "Good idea. I will." And she leaves. And then they're like, "Oh no, Cheryl Blossom, your name is ridiculous. And your brother has been murdered. And we just found his body in the river. Who did it?"
Was it Archie?
Spoiler alert, it turns out that the Blossom family doesn't make their money off of maple syrup, which is already a ridiculous premise.
What, the maple syrup people?
Yeah, they have an entire syrup faction that when he died, they bring Archie in to court her because they need pure ginger people. It's like, yeah.
I'm sorry.
The ginger Aryan. Yes, it's a real plot point. The mother of Cheryl Blossom isn't actually. She was raised by the Blossoms. She was adopted from an orphanage because she had the right genes to look like a Blossom. So she was raised from like younger than Rebecca's age to be groomed to be the wife of their real son.
So
they were like, "Archie, we'll get you into the best music schools that you can ever dream of if you just act like you love Cheryl." He's like, "Well, she's a really good friend. I do care about her." They're like, "Ha, yes, but we need you to care about her." He's like, "I do. That's why I'm here." And they're like, "Ah, yes, you will be part of the first maple tapping out." And they go into the tree and the syrup comes out. And it's stupid. And they're like, it's all very Twin Peaks. We're like, yes, oh. It's stupid. And it turns out they're not rich because of that. They're drug runners, which makes way more sense. And the dad...
Out on the patio while I assemble.
Not especially. This won't take too long.
Yeah, we'll meet you out there.
Okay.
So, the dad killed the son because the son was running away with Betty Cooper's sister because she was pregnant and they were going to go start a life at this hippie farm way out in the middle of nowhere. But instead, the sister got sent to an insane asylum, which was really creepy and run by the evilest nuns I've seen. And then he got shot in the noggin. Then you find out that the Southside Serpents, which is not a penis innuendo somehow,
Clearly is.
Biker gang.
A butt penis.
It's like tunnel snakes.
Oh, so it's butt stuff.
The NBA has been suspended.
What? I never asked that!
Serpents, man.
Apparently that's secret code for something. Anyway, so it turns out the dad shot the son when he found out that he wasn't going to run drugs and he wasn't going to take over the empire and he was going to go do other stuff. And then Cheryl's like, "I can't live without my brother. He was the only one who treated me like I was nice. I'm going to go kill myself and jump into a frozen lake."
And that's how she died?
And then Archie's like, "Why are you jumping into a frozen lake?" And he punches through frozen ice, breaking his hand, saving her. And then she's like, "Well, my family's crazy. My dad just hung himself in the maple barn that's secretly filled with heroin. I'm going to burn the whole place down and scar my mother and then hold her hostage and be like, if you don't let me live a normal life, I'll kill you for real." That starts season 2.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
100% of that was real.
You haven't even started the crazy bit?
No, this isn't even the crazy season yet. Season 2 opens. Grundy, the hot teacher from the first season, is already grooming another guy who's in high school to be her hookup.
It's not Jughead?
No. Anyway, so also Jughead is dating Betty. They have as close to a healthy relationship as the CW will ever allow. And Veronica and Archie are dating because they're both emotionally damaged people. Which, whatever.
What about Evil Betty? I know that's a thing.
Dark Betty. Yeah, Dark Betty was the thing where she tortured a guy and nearly drowned him after drugging him in a hot tub to get him to admit that he was basically making up lies about women to try and shame them. So she almost drowned a guy, and then she started acting like she was her sister because they had apparently done that to her sister. But her sister doesn't have dark hair, but she had dark hair. For the wig, it was confusing. And anytime Rachel got mad, I would say, "Is this dark Rachel?" And she was like, "Shut up, it's not funny."
Well, you can tell because she sounds like a weird feminine version of Stewie from Family Guy.
Anyway, so season 2 opens up. She's like, "Ooh, maybe I'll hook up with another sexy high school boy who's actually played by a 25-year-old." But for the context of the show, it's still pretty morally bad. And then a guy's like, "No," and he strangles her with a cord to a violin that Archie gave her last season, and he just kills her. And so there's a serial killer called the Black Hood. It's not very creative. And he goes in to Pop's malt chocolate shop, and he shoots Archie's dad. And then Archie's like, "I can't believe I didn't protect my dad. Now I'm going to start a vigilante squad with a lot of homoerotic undertones and overtones called the Black Circle, or maybe the Red Circle." He goes through both of them. But it's a bunch of like high school wrestling team guys who walk around shirtless with like red gimp masks on and baseball bats, and they're like, "We're out here to protect the streets." It's very erotic. And it turns out that Veronica's dad is pushing him to start an erotic hit squad because if he can prove that he's insane, then he can get him sent away from his daughter. And he's like, "Sorry, you're trash. You're from Riverdale. You shouldn't be hooking up with my daughter in very elongated CW intimate scenes." But he is. The serial killing continues, and they're like, "Oh no." And then
I just love the idea that they're like singing the serial killer. Like, oh no.
Did you not say that?
and Betty's like, "Wait, I have a brother?" And the mom's like, "Yeah, you had a brother, but I gave him up for adoption because I was too young and I was a bad mom, and your dad is kind of not a good person and he made me do
the
it."
person she's dating or something?
No. Hang on to that thought, though.
Oh no.
His name is Chet, I believe, and he's the worst, and he's an e-boy who will sexy video chat you for money. Not a good character. She finds him getting stabbed by a man in a hovel and saves him. Long story short, he's not her brother. He roomed with her brother for a while and stole his identity because he would talk about how nice his family was. And he's like, "I never had a family, but I really don't like not having a family, and yours look nice, so I'm going to steal it." And he's just the worst, and anytime he even exhales, you kind of want to rip his skin off and kill him. He's like the Browns. Anyway.
Maybe don't post this to the website.
I don't care. Anyway, so he is the worst, and the Black Hood is like, "Hey, Betty, I'm gonna keep calling you," and the ringtone is lollipop, lollipop, ooh, lolly, 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 lollipop, dum dum dum.
Yeah, I know.
But like in a really like 1950s like happy, creepy way.
But is it like a fade like?
No, it's just like it's really happy to sort of off-put you from the fact that it's not a happy thing.
Jill, this is sweet tea.
So it's like a video game trailer from 2007.
Sort of. It's very Gears of War 2 era commercializing. Which was a good era because we got the Rendezvous with Death, which is the best one.
Gosh.
Anyway, continuing forward,
Yeah.
so the Black Hood's like, "Hey, I've been calling you a lot and it's putting a lot of strain on you, and I haven't let you tell your boyfriend or else I'll kill people. That's not easy on your relationship either. Also, Jughead is now in charge of a biker gang because his dad went to prison, and he's like..."
Isn't that like the Serpent Society or whatever they are?
The Southside Serpent Society. Of super serious skater. I'm running out of S words.
They're superfluous.
He does have a nice motorcycle, though. And he looks good in a leather jacket.
Skin.
I'll give him that. But I'm not happy that he dyed his hair to look like I did in high school, because then I had to dye my hair to not look like him. It's not really what happened, but it's a funny joke.
Okay, yeah,
Anyway,
Hey, Becca, we're having a conversation here.
so
sorry.
he's control of a gang, of which there's a gang member named Sweet Pea, because they didn't change the name of the characters from the silly Archie comics, and they're just like, "That's fine."
Great, so now they have a taser face.
No, they don't see it as a joke. It's not a joke name. It's his real name that he goes by as a tough, gang dude.
Wait, so they're like, we have to stop Sweet Pea.
Yeah, Sweet Pea, stop trying to shiv these other gang members. That.
I guarantee
They do a slow motion fight in the rain for a turf war.
if someone shows up
with
in
the
prison,
red
it's like,
circle.
call me Sweet Pea.
Yeah,
That
no, it's
ain't
not
ending
good.
well.
Anyway, so the Black Hood dude is like, hey, surrender your brother to me and I'll kill him because, by the way, the guy, he started inviting people over as his quote-unquote clients for sexy time. And then your mother killed a guy and you all had to hide the body. And that's been difficult for everyone. Also, Jughead's dad got out of prison at some point in there. I don't remember when because they really didn't make a big deal out of it, which is ridiculous because I would make a big deal out of not being in prison. Your phone is playing the OC theme.
That's an alarm. Oh, BRB.
Anyway, Sam, so just some also background information. There's a big rivalry going on between the Red Circle, run by Archie, and the Southside Serpents, run by Jughead, which is making their friendship a real difficult. But yeah, this is not the crazy season yet. Anyway, so the Black Hood turns out to be Betty's dad.
Of course, Booty.
He was like emotionally abused as a child, and also the reason that the dad wanted to kill in the first season his son was because it turns out the Blossoms and the Coopers are the same family. They split, so it was sort of like marrying a cousin, and they were like gross. But then the Blossom people were like, "Oh, a more pure bloodline. We'll raise the children." And then the sister goes to live on this place called The Farm, which is not creative, but it's a hippie commune place. So yeah, he goes to serial killer jail, which means he's in a dark, scary place with those see-through plastic walls with the ventilated holes in it, like a hamster cage, so you can still talk to him, and it's dramatic, like every cage Loki is in ever in the MCU. You have to be able to look at the bad guys, and I have to admit, there are times when he's the best. Cheryl Blossom's mom gets better, and she starts running a brothel. Yeah, no, they just completely gloss over the fact that like high school kids make use of it too. Like, just that's fine. The sheriff is like, we know you run an outstanding, totally upright place. And I'm like, that character who was on the wrestling team was just here, so unless he got held back a few years, that's illegal. But also prostitution is illegal. Hang on, what? I just realized there's a lot of
prostitution's illegal. Did you not realize that?
Sorry, believe it or not, I don't proposition many prostitutes. I'm a busy guy. I have homework. Anyway, so the main takeaway points are the Black Hood goes and chases to kill Chet. Betty's worried that her inner darkness is going to make her into the next killer. And Archie becomes class president. Yay. Then Archie gets arrested because he killed someone, but he didn't really. He was just at like this lodge owned by the Lodges, which is the Betty's or Veronica's family. They're rich. Their name was the Lodge family. It's not that creative. Anyway, but some guys tried to rob them, and their hired help gun guy killed those people. And so Archie goes to jail, and he starts a fight club with a dude named Mad Dog, where the prison people pimp out their strongest people to go fight other prison people, and money is involved. And then there's a jailbreak that happens, and Archie joins the Southside Serpents, but then the Southside Serpents don't really accept him because they're just like, your best friend just runs the place. You didn't have to get punched in and like jumped into the gang, even though the gang is pretty ridiculous. It's basically a violent after-school club, as is, with adults that show up at random points. Cheryl starts her own gang, and then a Dungeons and Dragons ripoff starts being played called, hang on, it's G&G. It's like something in Gargoyles. Gargoyles and Gargantuans or something, I don't know.
Goliaths.
It's something.
Organs.
Hang on, let me look it up. Like, this is gonna be my search history now.
I'll look it up. You just...
What is it called? Something in Gargoyles. Griffins and Gargoyles. I don't say Griffin very often, so I wasn't going to get that. Basically, it was played back when their parents were kids, and they played it. And I'm just going to breeze through it because they take a really long time explaining it. So Archie gets out of prison, and then he goes on the run, and then he lives in the mountains in Canada as like a fire watch guy. And then he gets mauled by a bear, and he has to go on a spirit quest to fight himself, and he strangles himself, and then he fights a cult. And then he comes back, and then this game is taken over that's a Dungeons and Dragons ripoff that people become addicted to like a drug. And then you have to drink blue Kool-Aid so that the Gargoyle King will love you, and then you can ascend to a higher plane. So
I'm gonna have to ask you to shut up for 5 seconds. What?
a lot of kids are drinking poison Kool-Aid and jumping out of windows so they can quote-unquote ascend to the higher plane and fly. Spoiler alert, the Gargoyle King is Chet, who didn't get killed because the evil dad was like, hey, I see a kindred spirit in you. You also want to kill people. I'll spare you and train you in my ways of murder, which isn't that difficult. You just kill someone. So then he's being escorted to a better prison, and he dies. But he doesn't die, even though they find his DNA. He chopped off his own hand, so now he has a hook hand. This is all totally normal. Then Brothel Mommy shows up. Turns out she was the one who originally poisoned someone back when they were all kids in an episode where they're all played by the young cast members, which was actually kind of a fun callback, but the premise was still really stupid because it's just Breakfast Club with a cult, and it wasn't that fun. And so they go back into the modern day, and at some point, this is a dumb subplot, but Veronica opens up a speakeasy that doesn't sell alcohol, that you have to like go into a phone booth and call something inside Pop's chocolate shop, and it'll take you to this place with a stupid French name that just basically means like the place. And she doesn't sell real alcohol, but then adults start moving in and treating it like it's a real bar, and like you'll see kids after a long day like, hit me with the double, and they're drinking Coca-Cola. I'm like, what are you getting, a sugar high? This is stupid. I don't think they remember that. Then they have a poker night, they do some more legal gambling, there's some more boxing.
So wait, brothel's okay, booze isn't?
Well, because they're look, there's a lot going on.
What is happening?
There's a lot of, also at one point that I, Simon or Love, Simon movie came out, made by the guy Berlanti, who made all of the CW shows. So for an entire episode, everyone in Riverdale was like, have you seen that new movie by that genius? And it's like, the guy who made our show? And it was like, have you witnessed our God King? And it was really weird. And even the people who liked the show were like, there's no movie in the world that everyone in a high school, from jock to nerd, was like, that Love, Simon really made me get in touch with my feelings.
So La La Land really got me going.
Basically, they have to Hunger Games their way through a gargoyle gang, and they have to pass a bunch of things. They have to drink, they have to do drugs that'll kill them after a certain amount of time. They'll be hunted if they stray from the hunting grounds. They have to accomplish these tasks.
They'll be hunted if they escape.
Yeah, if they leave, because they have to accomplish X number of tasks, and then they'll be free.
Already being hunted?
Only if they leave. They'll be hunted if they stray, and then
don't call it the hunting grounds.
Look, I'm not the writer here. I'm just the person telling you the story.
It's the only ground that isn't the hunting.
So they have to, like, Archie has to fist fight a giant in, like, tribal bone gear.
This is based off the Archie comics, right?
Yes.
The ones that
Betty
say
has to
groovy.
shoot her dad. Veronica has to drink poison and do something else, and I don't remember what Jughead had to do.
And this is still a show that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's still going. Sam Witwer shows up in the new season. I haven't watched it.
What?
Yeah, Sam Witwer. Yeah. I like how I
He
mentioned
probably
Sam.
plays someone's dog or something.
No, he's like the sexy head of like a boarding school that wants Jughead because he's super smart.
Yeah, you know.
But he's probably secretly like a demon or something at this point. Anyway,
Yeah, probably he's going to cross over Sabrina. Ooh, that'd be neat.
they actually do exist in the same universe because they have the same pizza boy. That's not a joke. That's literally how they connected the universe. The same pizza boy delivers pizzas in both shows.
They just haven't had a
And
crossover.
they reference it too. They're like, oh, you don't want to go down over there by wherever the city that Sabrina's from. They're like,
the Sabrinas.
and they're like, yeah, I used to go over to
By the
Riverdale
niece.
High before I became a 8th level demon lord, which is kind of ridiculous. They had a cult, and they didn't tie it into Sabrina, and Sabrina's literally demon magic, and they're like, but it's not real. It's all hallucinations.
Yeah, also, freaking
Oh, so
Sabrina just means niece in Spanish.
Betty's mom also joins a cult that's literally just the cult from Far Cry 5. And they have multiple wives, and the guy's daughter, who is like recruiting emotionally damaged children, who at one point were all poisoned to have seizures by Veronica's dad because he wanted to hide drugs that were being dumped while he's making a prison. From prison, it's very confusing.
What are you talking about?
Also, her mom is the mayor. Don't worry about it.
The
It's not that
brothel mom
important.
or different mom?
No, different mom. Brothel mom is Cheryl's mom. This is Veronica's mom. I don't remember her name, but she's kind of hot. But then after
Who is
season 1, she just
Jughead
turns
mom?
into a dick. Jughead's mom is actually the chick who did lots of drugs in the episode of America's Got Talent Psych thing, where she was all about Lassiter. She's like,
From the American Duos?
yeah. I don't remember her name. She also shows up in a one scene of Community as someone who basically tells a guy that he needs to go be in VHS video, like respond to the video games instead of working for Apple before Apple gets big. It's like a flashback. And basically the joke is she ruins this guy's life on accident by making terrible choices. It's not important. Also, she kills a woman. And at one point, the adults have to finish their game. So they have to go out and commit crimes, and so
Someone saw Jumanji and was like,
Jughead's dad becomes the sheriff, even though he was a gang leader, and then he shoots a man, and he gets shot, and then he goes to jail, but then he was under duress, so he's the sheriff again. And then Jughead's mom is trying to turn the place into the entire place into a drug den again, and she has to fight with the ninja Sai, a woman whose fingers she chopped off because she stabbed Jughead and carved off his tattoo at one point with a gang thing. It's unrelated at this point.
This is...
So she goes to the hospital because she fights a woman. And then also Jughead's sister is called Jellybean, and that's never addressed.
Wait, is that her actual name?
Yeah.
That's her birth name?
Yeah.
Wait, is Jughead's name Jughead?
His name is Leopold Juniper Jones III or something like that, and he just goes by Jughead because life. It's from a ridiculous comic that they just never updated.
Oh, what's to blame the rest of it?
Probably drugs. Anyway, so the kids have to finish. The kids have to finish the whole thing. It turns out that the girl, the kid to the cult leader who's been getting people, she's been repeating her junior year of high school for 10 years, and she's actually 30-something, just like in real life probably. And she's actually not that guy's daughter, she's his wife, one of many, and Betty's mom is about to become his next wife, and then they're going to raise her sister's kids as the next heads of the cult. Turns out the cult actually harvests people's organs, and that's the darkness they take away from you, and then they sell the organs online, but also his daughter/wife, who's actually his wife, who pretends to be his daughter, but still probably calls him daddy for different reasons, she has a disease and constantly needs organ transplants. So that was part of it, and then we can also make money selling these. Anyway, the FBI's been chasing them, it turns out. You find out that Betty's mom wasn't insane. She was undercover for the FBI because in the final, few minutes of the most recent season, they're like, by the way, hi, I'm Dr. Smolder. I'm an FBI agent, and I'm over here. I've been hunting down this cult, and we're going to find what happened to your sister, your mom, her kids, and the cult, and we're going to take them down. Your mom wasn't crazy. She was undercover because after living with a serial killer, she wanted to do some good for the world. Yeah, that's right, even though she was probably going to sleep with them. That's gross, but we're okay. FBI.
She has a thing for
and she's like, but why would my mom trust you and go undercover? He's like, oh, because I'm your brother. She's like, what? And then it turns out, not only is it her brother, but it's a half-brother because she slept with Jughead's dad in high school and got pregnant. So he's actually has genetic links to both boyfriend and girlfriend, Betty and Jughead, which is kind of weird. And Rachel will just randomly, 3 a.m., we'll be, vacuuming and, watching Community. And she'll be like, isn't it weird that they're basically going to have a kid that's the same genetic template as their half-brother? They're sort of related, but not? That's gross. So we try not to think about that or the show.
I feel like they shouldn't hang out with him.
And it turns out that Brothel Mommy was raised... So the cult... Not the cult that was harnessing organs, but the nun cult that was where, the insane people were sent to. They made G&G, as it's called by the kids, to control minds and take over people. Because, obviously.
It's making Eureka seem like a doctor.
Yeah, no, it feels like gritty realism. It's like a Nolan film at this point. Anyway, so... They made this thing, and they would do ritual sacrifices, and she poisoned someone because she was raised by them, and she was going to take over the Blossom drug trade. And then she was like, we have to finish it, and we're going to kill all of you. And now Chet, he dyed his hair orange to be like my son who died because I'm insane. And also, your dad was with me when he was a brothel boy, and now I inspired him to do more killings. So he's not dead. He has a hook hand, and he's going to kill you. And that's going to happen. And then he doesn't. Yes? You in the front?
What?
We're nearing the ending of this season.
I feel like... I don't know. I feel like when you look at, lava and there's, different layers of earth that are all just kind of melting together, I feel like it's different levels of, we should talk about this. And they're all kind of just melting and destroying things that they pass by.
So, The kids hunt and survive. They make it to the morning, and then right as they're about to be hunted by a gargoyle gang, which wears gargoyle masks, because why not? Cheryl shows up with her gang that she made when she got kicked out of... Because at one point, Riverdale became Mad Max. I forgot to tell you that. It became
Shut
Mad...
up.
It
Shut
became
up
Mad
right
Max,
now. Shut up
and
right
gangs were ruling everything.
now. Shut up right now.
And Cheryl robbed one of the most powerful people, Veronica's dad, who is horribly corrupt and looks like Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church. Look that up. And she signed it with her signature, like, lipstick kiss on, like, the thing after she robbed the safe, very Catwoman. And they're like, we told you not to get us in trouble. You're out of the gang. This is terrible. You and your girlfriend are out of the gang. And she's like, no, I like to make trouble. Ooh. And they're like, we don't care. This is the apocalypse for some reason. And so she makes her own gang called the Pretty Poisons. And yeah, it's not good. And they're an all-girl gang. Okay. And so they show up on pickup trucks and they shoot arrows into all of the gargoyles they're attacking. And Poison Brothel Mommy disappears into the night, so she's probably going to come back in the new season. And then
If this show were an Etch-a-Sketch, I would throw it into the sun.
And then Archie's like, let's make a deal to have a normal life and never do this again because we're all normal again, except for the fact that I got branded in prison because the warden was playing G&G and the thing he was given was Kill the Red Paladin, which was code for me. It is very weird. Basically, the whole place is run by a cult. Alcohol. Sweet tea.
Don't have any alcohol.
I'll sell for sweet tea.
How does a nurse not have any alcohol?
Anyway, and then the final season's like, let's just have a milkshake and agree to be good. And then it flashes forward to sometime in the new season they stopped making because Corona. And hopefully by God's hand, it never picks up again. Anyway, and they're burning Jughead's clothes, and they're all in the forest.
Destroy the world.
They're all in the forest, covered in blood. They're burning Jughead's clothes. Like, we can never speak of this. And then it cuts back to that scene again. They're like, yeah, let's have a normal life. And then the first episode of the new season kills off Archie's dad for real. It's a flash forward to keep you intrigued after they pretty much crapped the bed with the last whole series.
My guess is Jughead is faking his death so he can take on the supernatural...
Well, he almost died a season back whenever there was an inter-gang war between two gangs and he was beaten to death and had his serpent tattoo scar ripped off of him.
He was beaten to death?
Yeah, but then his dad made him get better. They went to a hospital that looked like it was from the 1930s, where everyone dresses up in
The candy striper?
Yeah, and it's all like an old mental institution looking thing. It's really creepy. Also, Archie and Veronica's dad had like a feud going, and then Archie almost killed him, but then he saw another guy was going to kill him, and so he killed that guy instead. And he's like, wow, because you saved me, we'll be friends. And then they're like, later on, it's like, why are you betraying Archie? Don't you guys have an agreement? It's like, yeah, well, there's two Archies. The Archie who tried to save me, and the Archie who was there to kill me. So I'm also duplicitous. Hoo 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 hoo. And he's shirtless a lot, which is kind of like, why?
I think I would rather pee my pants
They
than
wrestle each
continue to
other.
listen to this.
They wrestle each other to prove that he should be on the wrestling team because he's trying to impress the dad so that he'll like the fact that he's basically sleeping with his daughter all the time. And it just becomes like them actually wrestling shirtless together. And there's a lot of vibes that make you say like maybe their hate for each other is really just love.
Like maybe Brito was right, and that's the only reason guys fight is because they want to kiss.
It's a compelling argument for it. But anyway, yeah, the new season they kill off the dad because the actor really did die for real. And that's not a good way to handle it. And that's Riverdale. You've just watched 3 seasons.
I don't know. I'll get myself something.
Okay, well, it's ready. Come sit in.
Sam, what did you take away from that? That Legends of Tomorrow isn't the craziest show on the CW? And that Arrow isn't the cringiest?
Look, I don't think anyone's surprised that a show about Archie is garbage.
There are a lot of plot points I'm sure I missed, but those are the ones that stuck out as being, how did this happen? Basically, every episode is just pushing the limits of how much you can... I think it operates on adult film logic, where you can just be very dramatic and sensual, and people will just be like, this is normal. Like, there's a point where a kid is like, fine, but you have to agree to my terms, to her parents who have legal custody over her, and can just control her powers of, like, their company that she's been bequeathed. I know, it's frustrating.
So close too. That's what
Were you trying to catch a Pokemon?
Yeah.
I guess you just gotta brace yourself for disappointment.
They won't understand that joke.
Well, I do. You're in a leg brace. ankle brace. Nice small bread.
That might work now.
I feel like I just purged evil from myself. So yeah, Sam, what did you take away from your Riverdaleisms?
He
What
said
do-
he's hoping to take his attacker down with it.
They should make a Pokemon game where you choose a Pokemon and you just buy human slaves and make them fight each other for your
His attacker
joy.
down with it.
I'm gonna make that
I didn't
game.
even know that was something Lava Fett could do.
Anyway, you're clearly not engaged in this.
Sorry.
I just needed your takeaway.
For my sanity's sake, I needed to not be overly engaged.
And so it was that one man, burdened with the evil of a poorly made CW TV series based on a beloved comic book, found himself purging the evils from himself by infecting those he loved the most. Perhaps the next time his wife says, "If you watch this show, I will reward you," he will realize no reward is worth suffering. Not like this. Thank you, and good night.